Hello everyone. So the purpose of this video is going to be what you see in the screen, on the screen. So how to support emotion with evidence. So we've been talking about this for about a week now, and we're finally going to be able to get a practice with it. So I will explain very quickly how to get this done, and then you will be off on your own doing some practice, and in the next few days you're going to continue doing this type of work. All right? So listen up, let me go ahead and get started. All right, so I've said this before, but why is it so important to support emotion with evidence? Well, anybody can make an emotional statement, but it can also be very easily discredited if it does not have facts to support it. And in there, I have an example, a non-effective and an effective. So let me read the non-effective. Global warming is going to be the death of us all. Okay, so that's it. It's just my opinion. It's kind of emotional because we're talking about death and survival, but anybody can easily discredit that. And let me show you an effective one, which is that global warming can end human life because, according to the WWF, sea levels can rise and coasts as well as islands can disappear. So in there, I'm still touching the emotion of the audience because I'm talking about human survival. But my argument is a lot stronger because I am backing it up with some facts and with a credible organization like the WWF. Um, and with this fact that I'm using in my example, my effective example, I'm able to back up my opinion that global warming can be the death of us all by saying that, by explaining how that can happen, which is the rise in the sea levels. So when you're making your very own argument, think of that. Think of how you may be causing an emotion on your reader, but you need to be able to back it up with facts and evidence in order to make sure that it is as strong as an argument as it can be, and to make sure that you're doing a good job of convincing the other side. So this is just a way to get started, to get thinking about using evidence to support an emotion. All right, so let's first look into how to best to cause an emotion, and then we will look at how to back it up with some evidence. So to cause emotion, you always have to look for topics that are very loaded. So, like the first point says, you can use emotion when you bring in any of the topics listed below as part of your argument. So, if your argument is talking about any of these topics, and these are just examples, there's a lot more stuff that can cause emotion, but I'm just giving you these examples to give you some to get started. And also, with these, hopefully, you can think of more. So, children, family, death, life, justice, violence, human rights, discrimination, love, hate. These are all examples of topics that can really cause an emotion on your reader. So when you're thinking about what type of argument you're going to make that causes emotion about your issue of choice, you may want to think about speaking about any of these topics, or any topics that you can see are related to that. These are just examples of it. Okay. So the very first thing we need to do is to make sure that we have uh, identified a point in our favor that talks about maybe one of these topics that will cause the emotion on the reader. And then once we have decided what will be our um, emotional example or emotional argument, we need to back it up with evidence. So in here I'm giving you like what type of evidence is effective, and these are just some examples. There are obviously more, uh, but these are the ones that I think can help the most. So statistics will always back up your argument. Numbers will always make your argument look stronger. So if you're able to say, I don't know, think about gun violence, for example. If your argument is that there are too many guns in the United States, a statistic that supports it is that there are more guns than people in the country. So that is a statistic that supports your emotional argument, and you would do something similar with your own issue of choice. All right. Then an expert opinion, that's just somebody that is credible, that knows about the topic, and that gives their opinion on the subject. And usually, if you cite a person like that, it will make your argument stronger because you're talking about someone that is very knowledgeable about the subject and knows what they're talking about. And this can also be a website or organization with credibility. So, like for example, the ACLU, that's an organization that is well known around the country that focuses on human rights. So organizations that have that type of credibility are the ones that you can use to support your opinion also. And lastly, proven facts. So make sure that you have information that is a proven fact, kind of like the one I had over here, which is also an example of an expert opinion, I guess you can say. When I say that sea levels can rise and coast as well as islands can disappear, that's a proven fact supported by evidence. But at the same time, that is also an expert opinion because I'm talking about the WWF. So in there, I'm doing both of these parts of the evidence. But make sure that you're always supporting your emotional appeal with a piece of evidence that makes it stronger. All right, lastly, for your own reference. So make sure that part of your argument causes emotion upon your reader. So as we are working on your project towards the end of the quarter, make sure that you really are causing that emotion. Because if you cause that emotion, you already have part of the attention of the reader. All right. As you're developing your argument, think of what type of evidence can help your argument best. Is it statistics? Is it an expert opinion? Is it a proven fact? So really think what may help your argument the most um, after you decide what that will be. And lastly, you can search for evidence that can aid your argument and cite it. So this you can use from class readings if you already have something you think will work, but you can also use the internet. So look for evidence that supports your argument after you identify what type of evidence helps it, um, and have that at the back of your hand to make sure that when we are working on these final assessments, you already have something to work with. All right. So keep this in mind. This is what you will. This is why you will need this. So now I've finished with this video. You can now do your independent practice and keep these things that I said in mind as you're completing your practice. Okay. Good luck.